Hey, yeah, you! Are you struggling in every battle you get into inside of the game? Well, guess what? These 10 tips are going to help you dominate your opponents and win every battle you possibly can inside of the game. All you got to do is watch to the very end and make sure you use all of these tips. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so tip number 1. This is going to be used for a lot of players that are struggling, especially if you're getting trapped inside of docks and huts. So both of these skills guys going to help you. So let's say you're inside the water, which we'll get into later. You're going to be stuck inside of a dock. You're getting killed, right? Well, usually when you're hitting, you can't move. Well, actually, if you put away your rock and just jump to the side, you get out a lot easier. Although, it is not that powerful when using inside of a bridge. So when you are inside of a bridge, you're going to look just like this. You cannot just jump out the side. You have to go to the nearest edge and get out. And it's a little bit harder on this side now. But what you got to do is you got to go at an angle, moving back and forth while hitting the bridge just like this. So I recommend doing it like a more static thing. Just go like this, because your opponent is going to be a little bit off of you when inside of the bridges. So that is going to be working a lot for those, but the dock's going to be a lot more easier to get out of. So be careful when you are fighting in water using the bridges. But anyway, let's move over to the huts, because those are the main focus. A lot of people are struggling whenever you're getting big ol' hutted and or god hutted. You are stuck inside of here just getting absolutely demolished by an opponent, especially if you're a lower tier armor. Let's say you're using iron armor and a god player traps you up in here. Well, they're obviously using auto clicker because that's mostly the most strategic method people are using nowadays. It's just turning on the auto just like this and just static healing just like this way. Well, if you notice, when a player is over here healing or just about here, they have to have their blood fruit just about here. And if they're fighting with their camera here, if you're lucky, you may be able to get them on the static movement when they're opening up the hut and get yourself out. So I recommend you guys moving your character just over to about right over here or right against the wall on this side, because when they're healing, they're actually going to end up accidentally eventually hitting that door, letting yourself crawl right on out of the hut. Yeah, crazy, right? Anyway, let's get on to tip number 2. Alrighty, so this tip is actually a little bit of a bypass from the auto-clicking system. So right now, when you're inside of a hut and or fighting opponent anywhere standing still, you cannot really take more than one at all. Meaning, it is very, very difficult to withstand your opponents now. So, if you guys want to win, you actually still can use an auto-clicker, just as not as good. I'm just going to use OP auto-clicker for this just for right about now. And all you're going to do is you're going to be fighting. So when you're holding down, your health will go up little by little, right? Now, if you're holding down, that's what happens. But if you're going like this, it'll move then in chunks, meaning you're able to heal a little bit more when you're moving a more strategic route. Obviously, if you're using a fast auto-clicker, it may work a lot more, because I've even jumped from literally 0, about, not really 0, but about 10 health, all the way up to like 60 with some of the static movement. All you gotta do is hold, move, hold, move. That's all you gotta do over and over again, and then you will heal a lot faster than usual than just holding down just like this. So this even works if you are using your finger. You just got to be a little bit more strategic. I recommend moving really fast, because you want to be able to keep going just like this. It's a little bit difficult to maintain, but I recommend just practicing, and trust me, if you're not using an auto clicker, it is super OP to learn. So anyway, let's move on to tip number 3. Alrighty, so this tip is going to be definitely used for more of the logging players. If you are a logger, which means that if you like to leave the game when you are about to get in fights, if someone's auto-clicking, you're like, okay, I need to get out of here. Well, you're going to place a boat, which is obviously going to be one of your favorite boats, whichever one that's going to be. You know, I'm personally just going to use the bigger boat just for now, but you could use whichever one you strategically want to use. I also do want to let you guys know, before we go further, this boat is the fastest and most durable. This was going to be another tip in the end, but I'm just going to say it now. So this is going to include it right now. So I would recommend using the big old boat right here, 50 wood, 12 leaves, and 25 logs. Quite pricey, I know, right? But anyway, it's definitely worth the price. So when you are inside of this, people are now able to be able to shoot arrows just above this area. A little bit harder to do now that the ship is bigger, but there's actually going to be something you can use to make it even more impossible. You will need an emerald, magnetite, or crystal wall. These are the only walls that could possibly work with this, only because they look a lot taller. Because when you are shooting just like about there, they cannot hit over a wall. When they're hitting just like this, the arrow is no way possible to hit directly over that wall to hit your head. So you're able to have the few seconds and log from the game. So let's say I've stopped the boat, correct? Just like this. The player is behind me. If I place this, Not as close, but just like right around there, they are literally impossible to hit me. Why? Because if an arrow goes over, they're not gonna be able to hit my head. They will literally go and hit the sail, meaning I cannot get hit and I can just go ploop and just dip out of the game. Yeah, I know, right? It's a little bit broken, but definitely something you could use, and or if they do a bolt, they kind of can bypass it, because bolt does go right through the wall. So this is more for if you're running away from like people with arrows, god slings, etc. Yeah, next one. Yeah, Alright, so this tip I've actually been asked many times. How do I time out the dock and bridge placements? Well, it's actually quite easy. When you're using a dock, obviously if you're running still, you could just easily get trapped inside of a dock, just like that if you're just running straightly. Now, if you are jumping, it's a little bit more hard to obtain it. So I'm acting as if myself is an enemy. What you're going to do is you want to place a dock just when your character is just hitting the air. It's a little bit of a delay when it builds. So you want to actually do the opposite, not right when they're jumping down, right when they're going up. So 3, let's do it. Right when I rise is when we're going to do it. So boom. Oh, almost had it. My feet barely went in. All right, just like this, and it works. Yeah. So you kind of want to do the opposite of what you would think. So it's actually, instead of going up, what you're going to do is actually make it go down. So when you go up, when you're going down is when you want to not place it, is when you're going up. Just like this, right when you go up, just like this. Okay, that was down. Wrong one. Okay, JJ, up. There, boom, just like that. Right when you get up at the top spot is when you place your dock. So if you use that on your opponents at the best as possible, it'll definitely get them stuck inside of it. And yeah, I've kind of used that tons in a lot of my PvP videos, as well as a lot of my PvP clips that are uploading very soon. So yeah, it's really overpowered for you guys to go learn. So let's get to the next one though. Let's go. Alrighty, so this tip right now is actually the most effective tip that you actually want to learn. It's going to be involving the Voodoo system. So there's currently 3 Voodoos inside of the game. Not sure if we're ever going to add any more. We first got Energy Bolt. This does around 30 damage to normal health, and I think it's actually about 35, if I'm not mistaken. And when you're spamming it, you then do a lot of damage. So when they use the bolt is going to players about to log and or is very low. So when you actually hit just about this health, a little bit under halfway, is when you want to go just like this to your enemy. It's pretty overpowered, and it works a lot more effective, especially if you're fighting god players and or just trying to snag some easy eliminations. Now the next one is going to actually be the Invisibility. Invisibility is definitely something that I like to use. I'm going to actually spell myself real quick just so I can have it. So give me 3 seconds and I'm going to poof in with Invisibility in 3, 2, and 1. Poof. Yes, I now got Invisibility. Sick, right? Anyway, so Invisibility. What's going to happen is, you pretty much, if you stand still, you're completely invisible. The more you run and just continuously running, you are a lot more visible actually to the human eye. So you want to use it a little bit more accessible. So let's say there's god players at rope, or we're going to say in front of this hut. So imagine we're just saying over here, there's 2 gods over here just chilling. You want to then use your invisibility. You're now invisible. Now I recommend moving very slowly, just like this, just moving very slowly. Because boom, if you move slowly actually, very, just click your key just one at a time, and you're actually going to stay invisible for most of the time. You also get to click invisibility over and over again. It's actually like about infinite. So the more you strategically move, okay, well, that didn't quite work. That's embarrassing. The more you continuously keep moving, once you're just right about here with your invisibility, it kind of pressed a little too soon, you are then able to just sneak up right behind them, hit them a few times, and if you have a friend with you, y'all both could do it. Or if your friend has bolts, it is super powerful if you do have the energy bolts as a teammate. So if you have you with invisibility, teammate with bolt just behind the hut or something, both together could absolutely dominate any opponent just like that. Next one we're gonna have to use is gonna be the void bubble. Now this bubble is really OP, withstands 10 hits, or it will last for about 30 to 60 seconds. Really overpowered, so we're gonna get to that one, and I'm gonna show you guys what to do and why it's one of the best things to use throughout Booga Booga Reborn. Alrighty, so the shield. Now this one is going to be used especially when you are low. So if you're struggling against a 2v1 and or, I don't know, just say a god player's better than you, you're a noob, if so, let's say that as well. You're in a hut or fighting outside. All you're going to do is once you obtain low health, throw the Voodoo shield on, and there you go. Especially if you do have your, if you have the Spellmaster Voodoo right about here. Where is it at? If you have a Spellmaster, And if you also have the void armor and candy bag, you actually can regen it for infinite, unless you obviously hit the 10 times. Boom, let the void shield then go away whenever it does. It does take 30 to 60 seconds. So you realize you actually have pretty much infinite voodoo. Now, this is something that's insanely overpowered because, look, I'm already maxed out. And my shield is still regenning. Boom, just like that. Use it again, and you can do this over and over again. Make yourself pretty much indestructible until people actually start hitting you. Crazy, right? But yeah, Voodoo is definitely going to be a lot more used and accessible now that we have the brand new Spellmaster for about 3 mojo just about here. It pretty much regens your Voodoo by itself without nothing on. So if I took off my Void Armor and Candy Bag, my Voodoo still rises pretty at a very good rate. Pretty much like you're sitting inside of a Void server. So if we put all this on, you know, it jumps up by like, I don't know, 3 to 5 or something like that. It's really overpowered and definitely will help you win your fights. Anyway, let's move on to one of the best tips to get into. Alrighty, are you struggling with people placing a whole load of builds on you? Well, just pick a tribe, just like this. Place a totem, and boom, now you're set. Boom, just like that, right? Now, believe it or not, if you leave your tribe and you join a brand new tribe, their totem is still accessible. So this is server-wise. You can leave, and now obviously when you do that, if you place the yellow tribe again and place a totem, you can't. So if you just make a new tribe just like this, boom, let's say we're going to turn into blue team, make another totem, boom. Do this infinitely as long as there's more teams available. Yeah, you only can do pretty much until all teams are out. So if another team did do it, then you're kind of like, you know, RIP is just a big word right there. Now, I do want to show you guys something else, is how to build super fast to encourage your enemy to be trapped. You're going to grab an auto clicker. I'm just going to use OP auto clicker because I'm kind of too lazy to get my other one out. Now, you're going to go to your settings tab, X. You're going to go over here to the quick place, make it green. These are all the things that you may want on. The only thing that you may want to toggle on and off is going to be the quick place, but I'm going to keep it on for right about now. Clear buildings only for VIP servers, for anyone that is wondering. So now we have quick plates on. What that means is pretty much you're going to go here and grab huts, right? Just let me say we're going to go to a big old hut. This also works in water with docks, by the way. I'll also showcase that one. Big old huts. You're then going to turn the auto clicker on. Now, oh, okay, that was embarrassing. Hold on. Well, what you can do is you pretty much hold down, as you can see, and delete your opponent inside of huts. Like, literally just poof. There's no way they're getting out. So let's just hold down this button. There we go. And then let's redo this real quick. All right, boom. All right, we got this. And now look at this. Boom. You just place literally infinite huts all around the map, just like that. So your teammates are running around finding a whole tribe. Boom, place a whole load of huts very quickly, and they're going to be stuck. And I know that's not even the fastest auto clicker, and they're getting crazily trapped. So if you use a dock, your teammate's running away, if you're not really good with the timing, just go boom, 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 boom. It'll eventually get them inside of a dock, just like that, as well as a super overpowered trying to place a lot of things into each other. So in my opinion, that's my best rate to do what you should do if you are struggling to trap your opponents. Anyway, let's get on to the next tip. Alrighty, so this tip is definitely going to be useful. Always have a bow or a god sling on your hands. Obviously, the god sling is the best thing in today's game. It's really a god rock, but as a bow. It does around 20 damage to any structure and to gods. So it's really overpowered. You just need an obsidian, which is obtained in the void. Boom, get yourself just like that. And it literally does 20 damage to literally everything. It literally 2-taps noobs. It does 75 damage to a no skin. Crazy, right? But anyway, what you're going to do is you're going to always have one on hand because bows are not as powerful. Definitely keep your what is it called? Opponent inside of PvP and, you know, get them in combat with you guys for sure. So I recommend do use these always on your hands. I personally really like the God Sling. You can really time it out pretty well. I have not used it in a few days, so I'm a little bit rusty, but you can definitely tell it works really, really overpowered. So yeah, let's move on to one of the last tips. In 3, 2, we're going. Alright, the second to last tip. It's actually going to be very easily, and just a quick little tip for you guys to know. Don't go in the water, alright? Just don't do it. Don't walk into water. It's a death trap, man. When you are stuck inside of a dock or bridge, just like this. Let's say you're stuck. You can't get out early. You're stuck here, right? 2 players, you're dead. You can't do no damage to the dock. You're getting double hit. You're getting double voodooed per se. You're gonna instantly die. So don't go in water, okay? It's a very bad decision to jump inside of water. It's like just asking to die. It's literally just like, okay, kill me. Just kill me, you know? Like, it's really bad. I personally never go in the water because it's just not a good idea. Unless, you know, I'm willing to get into some PvP. But, yeah, just don't go in there. Anyway, we're gonna get on to the last tip. This tip is literally going to be the most useful. Always bring a friend. Get friends. Get a teammate. Walk inside the game. Find a guy and make friends. Lead them up. Like, ask him, when can you hop on, man? When can we grind out and go kill some players? Because it's going to be the most accessible. And it used to be where you could go solo, where you can tank up to 4 players, which was super overpowered. Now that auto clears are patched, pretty much, you really need to have a teammate. You could 2v1 practically anybody as long as they're not moving a lot. So if you're onto your opponent, stick well onto your opponents. Grab their shoulders pretty much and just stay on them. Like if this bush was my opponent, I'll be looping them just like this until they're dead. You know what I mean? Or let's say this tree is my opponent. You're gonna loop them like crazy, just like, yo, you're not leaving, man. Y'all know what you're thinking, and make sure you're on that opponent until they're dead, and it'll do a lot of damage. But yeah, that's the end of for today's video. Hopefully you guys do use all of these tips, then become an absolute legend instead of Booga Booga Reborn. Let me know down below what tip was your favorite, and which ones did you not know. And anyway, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and I'm gonna see you guys up on the next one. Let's go.